Hello everybody, how is it going? So, today we have more tournament gameplay. This is I believe it's a qualifier for the championship, if I am reading it correctly. I just translate the title of the stream. I'm gonna be real, I'm not exactly sure, but I'm pretty sure it's a qualifier. But it's a matchup that you guys will probably see a lot of coming into the OP04 format. I feel like these two decks are kind of the most popular right now, or people seem the most interested in these two decks, being Rebecca and the new Doffy. I didn't say that. But yeah, I'm not exactly sure how this matchup goes normally. I haven't played it much myself, maybe like once or twice in the sim, but that's it. But Rebecca's seeming to have a good start. Turn 1 just leaders, turn 2 goes Coliseum, leader, and then Rebecca adds a Leo, and I forgot what he added off leader, honestly. My bad. But Doffy just gonna swing for 5, and then play down the Film Nami, and use her effect. Gonna look at top 3, and grab a Festa, and then just pass it back after restanding his 2 Dawn, because, you know, why not? I love that leader effect. I just love having access to events pretty much always. Because events are really strong. It's just like taxing every turn to leave like an amount of Dawn up, unless like that's your whole strategy, like Nami, you know. So yeah, Doffy's leader ability is very, very strong. But Rebecca is going to KO the Nami with I don't know the name of the card, but it's pretty much 3,000 worlds, but it pops a 4 cost or less, and then if you have 15 cards in grave, it pops a 6 cost or less. So really quite strong if you have 15 cards in grave, because you know, it pops even higher than 3,000 worlds, but for the same cost basically. But this is Doffy's 6th Dawn turn. Usually if you have a perfect curve playing Doffy, this would be your Tesoro turn, but I don't think he currently has one in hand. So I'd imagine a Nami will get played down. Okay, so he searches with Festa, which could possibly find a Tesoro. So that's smart. He does see one there, and he does take it. Okay, nice. So him getting the going second curve does let him, you know, complete his curve correctly. Now he just needs to find a Luffy for next turn. Yeah, and he'll just pass it right back, restanding the 2 Dawn. I don't know if he actually has any events in hand. Oh, he does. He has a Thunder Bagua, which is like actually such a strong card in this deck. Like, the more I've been playing it, I'm like, this card just like fixes going first, because you get the really strong play of going Luffy on your 7 Dawn turn, and then that turn, if you have a Bagua, you can ramp 1 and then have access to your 10 drop Doffy next turn. So yeah, definitely a really strong card. Also lets you play Luffy a turn earlier if you're on the go second curve. So yeah, definitely, I feel like definitely necessary to play in Doffy. But Rebecca is going to play down an Orlumbus, pop his Searcher Rebecca, and reduce Tesoro by 4. So we already know he has a Leo, so he will use the Leo, tapping his leader and getting rid of the Tesoro. This could be I feel like Doffy, how he wins this matchup is through 7 drop Luffy and also 10 drop, you know, Doflamingo, just because they're both kind of out of the range of most removal in Rebecca. Like, Orlumbus can put Luffy and Doffy into like 3,000 worlds range, but he needs to have the 3,000 worlds, and it's not searchable in this deck, so there is that. He also could potentially be playing more of the other removal spell, the black one, but that is searchable, but, you know, a little like not as good, because it doesn't bottom deck and you need the 15 cards to deal with the 10 drop at least, not the Luffy though. But Doffy gonna tap 2, play down the Sugar, probably tapping the Orlumbus. Definitely a card he wants to try to deal with. Orlumbus is a really strong engine, just letting him deal with basically up to 9 cost usually. He lets all the little guys pop 5 costs, and lets all the big removal spells pop 9 costs. So definitely a really strong card. And yeah, Doffy just swinging, I believe that was 11 into Orlumbus. Really just did not want that card sticking around. And that is fair. He does look like he has at least one 10-drop Doffy, so that will be good. I don't know how much value it's going to get, depending... Yeah, Rebecca, at least right now, doesn't have much of a board. So, yeah. I honestly, sometimes I feel like just playing the 10-drop on curve, maybe, yeah, I'd still do it into Rebecca, just because it's a body that they have a hard time dealing with, and it's obviously really big. So even if you don't get to, like, freeze, like, 3 characters, you just get to freeze 1, it's still probably worth just playing down and getting that to stick there for most of the game. Rebecca tapping 2. Playing down a blocker, and that will trigger the sugar. I did learn sugar is mandatory. She will always tap herself once your opponent plays a card, but it's like your choice if you want to tap something or not. So I mean, you're almost always just gonna choose, yeah, I'll just tap it because why not, might as well. He definitely could have tapped the Leo there instead of the blocker, because if he tapped the Leo, oh, never mind, I'm lying, because he has Coliseum, so it didn't matter what he tapped there. No matter what, sugar was gonna get cleared by either of the bodies that Rebecca has. And then Rebecca will play down the Gear 4 Luffy and clear the Festa, which is based. I don't know. I guess, like, why not, right? Like, sure, it is 0, but it could just be a 5k swing later on if they really have to. So yeah, fair enough. Also, they're both at full life, which is pretty funny. Like, Doffy being at full life isn't surprising, just because Rebecca doesn't really swing until they've exhausted all your resources. But Doffy not getting like any like leeway to swing into Rebecca's leader is a bit rough. And it's also like he has, but Doffy just gets so much value out of using his Dawn to play cards rather than, you know, swing bigger numbers. Because if you just take a turn to just like swing with everything and use all your Dawn, you don't get that restand effect. So it definitely is fair that he's just, you know, been playing cards on curve and going for little swings with his leader. Except last turn, obviously. But he is on his 10 Dawn, and 100%, if it were me, I'm taking this. Actually, maybe I'm not taking this 10-drop Doffy. They have a an active Luffy. Never mind, Doffy is probably a very bad idea this turn, because your Doffy will almost certainly get cleared. So maybe just a blocker Luffy? I don't know, it's kind of hard to play into this Luffy. I'm gonna be real. It definitely seems rough that none of his cards have really, you know, stuck, but that's kind of to be expected from Rebecca. 7-drop Luffy kind of helps a bit because you get to play 2 cards, and one of them is like a threat. And not saying like the blocker or the Nami that you play off of Luffy isn't a threat, it's just a bit harder to remove with like the little removal Rebecca has. But still has 6 down remaining. He does end up going wider here, which I think is fair, and he should be able to defend at least one of, you know, either the Nami or the Tesoro. Probably going to value the Tesoro a little bit more, just because drawing 2 is such a crazy effect, especially when you're at the 10 Dawn, because it's basically just free. So I'd imagine we want that to stick around. Rebecca using leader effect. Let's see what he grabs. Picks up another one of the removal spells, and I would he might not actually have 15, just because he did just use Luffy effect, so he might be under that. But his graveyard does look pretty healthy. So he's gonna swing 7 at, I'm not sure what. He could swing at anything on the board. We'll maybe be able to tell by how the Doffy player defends. Drops a 2k, and I think that's a 1k, so that's probably at the Nami. I know he's not defending his life, because a deck like Doffy you really don't want to if you're at 4 life. So yeah, the Rebecca player definitely not having 15 cards in grave, so opts to pop the Nami, and then 3000 Worlds the Tesoro. So yeah, that's rough. He had the answer to going wider there, but did use, you know, at least 2 cards in hand, so that is, I guess, decent. It's so hard to kind of build card advantage against Rebecca, because she always can just add a card from her deck every turn if she's like lower than 6, and 6 or 7 cards is a very healthy amount of cards to have in hand. So it's kind of hard to get her down. But he will resend the Luffy once again. Doesn't want Doffy being able to interact with the Luffy at all, which is pretty smart, not giving him the value on the 10-drop Doffy that he's probably looking for. And yeah, definitely quite a predicament for the Doffy player. Back on 10 Dawn. Looks like he has 2 Utas, a 10-drop Doffy, and a bunch of events. So not really much room for plays here. He's going to go 11 at Rebecca's life, and Rebecca will take that no problem. Picks up a Sabo. Doffy's going to play an Uta and pass it right back after restanding 2 of his Dawn. So yeah, I'm going to be real. Right now, it's looking miserable for the the Doflamingo player. Just keeping it real. I feel like just everything he's done has been pretty efficiently answered. Right now, I guess he's just kind of hoping that one turn the Rebecca player will not have enough cards engraved to restand the Luffy, and then he can just 10-drop Doffy him. Because, I mean, honestly, like he has plenty of time to kind of, you know, figure out what he wants to do, just because of the nature of Rebecca. If it comes down to it, he might just have to start chipping away at life with like bigger leader swings. But obviously that won't work later game, because Rebecca will just play some of her little blockers or a Sabo, and then yeah, you can't just swing like a ton every turn. He doesn't have the kid backup plan where we just swing big twice every turn. But Doffy will counter out of one of the swings from the Luffy using a Thunder Bagua. And the next swing is just gonna, you're just gonna have to kind of deal with it if you're the Doffy player, because he has, I think, 1k total counter in hand. But the Uta getting answered by the removal spell anyway, so unlucky. And Rebecca just passing it back. The Luffy is rested, so if there's any time to play that 10-drop, I guess it's now. But he also has the Orlumbus on the board, and we can see he has a 3,000 worlds in hand. At least I'm pretty sure that's 3,000 worlds. So that 10-drop will also just get dealt with kind of immediately. So yeah, really well played from the Rebecca. I feel like this is kind of like a turn to like bait him into playing the 10-drop, because he would finally get value here. But having the Orlumbus and the 3,000 worlds would just immediately deal with the 10-drop. So fair enough. Doffy swinging 11, I believe, at Luffy. And that will clear the Luffy. And then I'd imagine, yeah, he'll use the 4 Dawn. Well, technically 3. Play down the Nami and then tap the other one for Nami's effect. And looks like he finds one of the film 2Ks. Picks up the Fessa. That's fair. Could help him find a 7-drop Luffy. Definitely a little bit more valuable than the Chopper. And then just passing it right back. Rebecca finding a Kuros. I think he has like, what, 2 Sabos, 3,000 worlds. I can't quite tell what the other cards are, but he has them. He'll tap 3, play down the Kuros after reducing the Nami with the Orlumbus. Yup. He is set up. Orlumbus kind of good. Using leader effect, picking up a Barto. Barto is such a good card. Just having a 2k counter on basically a chump blocker. Like, sure, it's a bit more expensive than, you know, like a 1-cost blocker like Chopper or Veggie, but still super solid. Rebecca's gonna tap 5, play the Sabo. Whole board is protected from being popped. Draw 2. Looks like he picked up a Rebecca and the Lucci event card. I think it's like 6 King Pistol, I'm pretty sure. And then passing it right back to Doffy. Doffy does have a 7-drop Luffy now. Has a Spider's Web. I feel like he just can't play the Doffy until he deals with the Orlumbus. Like, he's just kind of stuck. And Sabo could just trade for the Orlumbus with the 1 swing Doffy has this turn. Doffy tapping 1, playing down the Festa, looking at top 5. Curious what he's looking for. Maybe just like a Nami, because, you know, cards that replace themselves are pretty good in this situation. And he sees a Nami or a Luffy, which I feel like are both okay targets. He's thinking about it here. I'm thinking Nami, just because you don't go minus a card. But he does take the Luffy. Alright. Luffy sounds pretty good too, just because if we can go wider and still establish a bigger body, it's pretty good. So yeah, 2 down to spare. Probably going to swing 7 at the Orlumbus, because Orlumbus is a problem. So yep, and I will be met with a block from Sabo, and then a 2k counter. Yep, fair enough. And then Doffy will tap 7, playing down the Luffy into the Uta. Restanding 2 Dawn and just passing it right back. See what Rebecca picks up. She grabs another Kyros, which is pretty good. Again, he can just Orlumbus effect, reduce Uta, then play the Kyros once again. Picking up another Orlumbus off of Rebecca leader effect. Definitely has a couple lines this turn. I feel like we definitely want to deal with at least, you know, either the Uta or the Luffy, depending on what he decides to go for, if he wants to spend his 3,000 worlds on the Luffy. I don't think he could play like a second Orlumbus and then like double reduce Luffy and then pop him, which would be kind of funny, but also quite a couple resources, I would say. So he's gonna Orlumbus, attempt to pop the Kyros, then protect the Kyros by resting stage. Not sure exactly what he reduced, but I mean, we'll find out. So it looks like he reduced the Luffy, and then he'll 3,000 worlds the Luffy. Okay, but we still have the Uta though. We traded a little bit up. So he still has 5 Dawn remaining, the Rebecca player. See what he wants to do with them. Tapping 4, playing the Orlumbus. Okay, so now he's set up to deal with even more top end. Crazy. Doffy will draw. See what he grabs. Finds another Festa. Right now, absolutely nothing tapped on Rebecca's board, so still no value in the 10-drop Doffy. I think Rebecca has been playing very, very well into the idea of 10-drop Doffy. So, yeah, we'll play to them. I think they've been playing this matchup like to a T. So yeah, Doffy picking up a Tesoro there. Again, we want to try to go wide. I think he does have another 7-drop Luffy, so that Festa was definitely either looking for like an Uta or a Nami that he could play off of the Luffy. But Doffy going 10 into life. Rebecca will take, and she finds a Leo. Doffy playing down Tesoro. Again, restanding his Dawn, passing it back. This is a grind. This is definitely a grind. But Rebecca now having 2 Orlumbuses established, he can it's like maximum efficiency. He can deal with just everything now. So he will use one of the Orlumbuses, and then, you know, to pop the Kyros, protect the Kyros, and then pop the Tesoro using a Leo he just picked up. Only for 1 Dawn. It's pretty good. I believe he can leader effect this turn. He taps 7 to play down another Luffy. So that Luffy can pretty easily deal with the Uta, and we can clear a Festa if we want. Still has, should be what, 2 Dawn remaining? Yeah. He'll swing 9 at the Uta. You can't defend that, right? It's like, you might be able to defend the first one, but you just can't defend the second one. So at that point, you're just dropping cards out of your hand for fun. Rebecca swinging 5 into Doffy's life. I imagine he'll take this hit. Yep. Grabbing a chopper. Rebecca will go 5 again. Doffy probably can't really afford to take this one as well. Honestly, maybe you could. Maybe you could. Just because if you're going to get, like, King Kong gunned anyway, maybe you're cool with being at 1 life. But he'll defend the first 5k, or the second 5k from Orlumbus. Then he'll defend the third 5k from the Kyros, playing down the Bagua. Not ramping one because he's at full down, obviously. Rebecca using Luffy effect to restand. I'm like pretty sure that they will just keep him active and not bother clearing a Festa, because I mean, doesn't seem worth it. Doesn't seem worth it. So yeah, bottom decking 7. And I think just passing it right back. Maybe counting cards in deck. Okay. That's fair. Don't want to accidentally deck yourself out, but you just shuffled 7 back, so that probably won't be for a while. Doffy picking up another Sugar. His plays are either play Sugar or play 10-drop this turn. 10-drop like might be worth it, honestly. Like, yeah, it'll probably get cleared by the Luffy, but you don't have to deal with the 2 Orlumbuses and Kyros, and it gives you an extra turn to try to out the Orlumbuses. But looks like Doffy doesn't want to do that. Maybe putting 3 down on lead and just trying to clear some bodies, maybe. So I imagine that 8k is going into one of the Orlumbuses. Unless he's just said, nah, I can't win board, and then just started going for life. Which is, yeah, I feel like this whole match has just been, damn, I can't win board. So, alright, Rebecca blocking the hit with the Sabo, not countering or anything. And it looks like Doffy is tapping 7 to play the Luffy. I didn't even realize he had a Luffy. Must have been hiding. And then just passing it back, nothing to play off the Luffy. So this Luffy will probably just get answered either by the 2 Orlumbuses Rebecca has, or the Luffy he has himself. Looking at Rebecca's hand, he does have a Kyros, so that can combo with the Orlumbus to just get rid of the Luffy. Picking up the removal spell, the Dressrosa removal spell, that can also get rid of Luffy. There's just so many answers. She just has all the answers. But the deck is really good, so I mean, hey, it's all good. He's piloted it well. I think it's fair. Rebecca tapping 4, getting rid of the Luffy after he reduced it with Orlumbus. Still has 5 Dawn to work with. Could play another Sabo. Rebecca swinging 5 at life. Doffy will take, potentially having a trigger here. He will Paradise Waterfall KO the Orlumbus. So, I mean, 1 down. But, he does have a lot of pressure on him now. And this Luffy can attack life, right? This was played last turn. So, Rebecca might just go for game, honestly. I mean, she shouldn't really be worried about dying just because he has 3 life, and the 2 bodies Doffy has are both just 0, so. Swinging 6 with the Kyros, Doffy will take, picks up another 10-drop, so he just has no counter in hand. Rebecca swinging for 9, and that is the game. Only has access to using one of those events, so it is over. Well, thank you guys for watching.